morning, and thank you for joining us on After GMS 7:45 on Tuesday, September 15th. We appreciate you logging on and joining in the conversations we have planned for you. Ed Matthews, you're a big part of that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
A big part of it. The man of the hour of the day, delivering all kinds of good news, Ed Matthews. We could keep going.
I do love that introduction. Bring it on, bring it on, bring it on. Yeah, it is absolutely gorgeous out here in the garden. Yeah, we told you that some cooler, drier, less humid autumn air would start to pour in the Piedmont. It really started to pour in late yesterday and overnight, and it continues today and tomorrow. We're looking at mid-70s today, a good bit of sunshine. We'll go down into the mid-50s tonight. I think we'll go around 55, 56 for our overnight low tonight. So a little chill in the air as we start the day on Wednesday. Maybe some of you cold-natured people, Megan, will need the sweater tomorrow morning. But we're going to be watching on a serious note. Of course, everybody along the Gulf Coast, including your friends in the Forecast Center, keeping an eye on Sally, which is moving very slowly right now, but expected to eventually make landfall Mississippi, Alabama late tonight or sometime tomorrow. Category 1 hurricane. Now the system will weaken, but that big glob of tropical moisture is going to move through Georgia and the Carolinas. Right now, based on the timing of the and the speed, we're thinking Thursday, late Thursday, maybe even into Saturday if that remnant low moves fairly quickly. So too early to assess how much rain, but some areas, if it moves slower, could get a soaking rain.
Yeah, Ed, you mentioned that sweater weather, and that's going to bring up our second conversation. But since we are talking about weather, you can't talk about the forecast without talking about the tropics. A very active season already with so many named storms out there churning right now. But let's talk about Hurricane Sally, because that poses an immediate threat to the Gulf Coast. So, Stacey, why don't you get us updated?
Well, right now, Hurricane Sally is crawling towards the Gulf Coast. They've been evacuated. Their state of emergencies in place for 3 different states, and it's actually the 7th hurricane of the 2020 Atlantic season. So let's go ahead and check out and see what we're seeing on social media this morning. This is from Brian Emfinger, who's in Dauphin Island in Alabama. He tweeted this out just before the show, video from there. He's a former coworker of mine that he chases storms often, and just seeing this video is so crazy already. The strong winds and floodwaters coming up on the shore there. It's so crazy to see. He said this was off of Highway 193 on Dauphin Island. He said probably won't be safe to travel much longer. Just really crazy images out of there this morning. I don't know if we've gotten to the video yet, but it showed one of the piers out there and a family just standing there watching those very strong waters, which is kind of concerning to me there. But I'm going to go ahead and retweet this on my Twitter page. So if you want to watch that full video, you can. We're also seeing a lot of videos from yesterday and last night. Sally already impacting the coast, choppy waters in Dauphin Island, and beaches are already flooding in Mississippi as well. We can only expect that to get worse. And in Long Beach, Mississippi, you can see water creeping up on the land. This was yesterday in parking lots. So it will be interesting to see what happens there. Of course, our thoughts and prayers going out to those families that live along that coast. And like we mentioned on the show, I mean, they just had Hurricane Laura in that area and are still trying to, pick up the pieces from that storm. So really hoping that things are not as bad this time around.
Yeah, the Gulf states are typically hit hardest, during hurricane season, as well as the Florida Panhandle. We are fortunate not to have seen too many storms come our way on the North Carolina coast, but there's still plenty of time. So we won't jinx this just yet. But when it comes to Sally, Ed Matthews, you're explaining both the storm surge and the wind, both contributing factors to what could be a major storm, and it'll bring a lot of devastation to the area.
Yeah, and one of the biggest concerns with this system, of course, the storm surge, as you mentioned, that wall of water that comes inland as the center of the storm, the eye of the storm, moves right inland across land, it kind of surges that wall of water inland as the wind pushes water inland from the ocean, and that can cause some incredible flooding. And in some of the videos that we just saw, that's what we're seeing in some areas early. Most of the heaviest rain and wind remain offshore at the moment, although some heavy downpours in coastal Alabama and also northwestern Florida. But it's crawling at 2 miles per hour. And we think, and based on the computer models we're looking at, steering currents that move these storms around are going to be very weak in that area for the next day or so. So we don't see the storm moving very much. Now we're thinking that eventually the eye will move over land. It'll make landfall probably late tonight or sometime on Wednesday. But even that's not a guarantee. If it continues to crawl at 2 miles per hour, it'll just buff the coast with some wind and continued rain. But I think the rain is going to be the real problem with this system. It's not the strength of the storm. It is how fast the storm is moving that it dictates how much rain you get. A very slow-moving tropical depression can bring tons of rain. You don't have to have a hurricane. It's the slow movement that we're really concerned about. And some of our models are suggesting right along the Gulf Coast over the next 24 to 48 hours, as much as 20 inches of rain or more are a possibility. Now that would be extreme, and that would be devastated, severe flooding along the coast of the Gulf.
Yeah, Ed, you mentioned rain, flooding, obviously the deadliest weather phenomenon to happen in the U.S. on a daily basis. So we want to make sure that everybody's taking precautions in the Gulf and here in the Triad, because we're only in September of hurricane season. You mentioned the worst of the impacts, thankfully, from this storm are not coming here. But Jason wanted to know how much rain and when will we get from Sally?
Now, that's the $64,000 question. We got to see two things that we're going to be watching. Is that remnant low, based on the current forecast track, will move across central Georgia into central South Carolina in the Friday to Saturday time frame. Now that may change, but we're going to see how quickly the low is moving. If it's moving slower, we have an opportunity to get more rain. If it's moving quicker, of course, it moves in and moves out. But it is good news that it's passing to our south, or at least it looks like it's going to do that, as opposed to moving right over our part of the Piedmont. But even for our area, some of the models are suggesting over an inch of rain. Maybe some areas towards Charlotte and over into southwestern North Carolina, maybe several inches of rain. That's what we're looking at now. But as we get closer to the time frame for rain for us, which would be, we think now, Thursday night through Friday and maybe even in the part of Saturday, we'll have a much better handle on how much rain we'll get.
All right, well, Ed, I mean, you said it was a $64,000 question, which is not bad if you were to get paid on this one. But I will pay you to keep the rain away. This weather is actually just perfect for September. So
yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on it. I know you guys are working on the forecast, and if you guys have any other questions, shoot us a quick text or go ahead and put it in the comment section. And we're going to be talking about weather again in just a few minutes, so we'll be able to answer it then. Right now, let's see what's making news.
Yeah, a lot to cover in our headlines this morning. Tonight, the Greensboro City Council will vote on a change to the police department's consent search policy. The policy change potentially would include officers now informing the person they want to search that person has a right to refuse. Officers would then need to secure permission for a search on a signed document. Supporters say this would add transparency, but critics say the city council should not tell officers how to do their jobs. GTCC's campuses will reopen for in-person classes today under a modified schedule. The campuses closed yesterday due to a cyber threat. School administrators would not release many details on this, except to say the so-called cyber incident was discovered Sunday night. Only a few of the school's in-person classes will not meet in person today, but make sure you check with your instructor and the GTCC Facebook page for updates. From the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic to protests for racial justice, the restaurant industry, more than any other perhaps in the country, is dealing with a lot this year. WFMY News 2's Candace Red shares how the city's annual restaurant week here in Greensboro is helping keep local eateries afloat and guests safe.
The coronavirus pandemic is not canceling Chow Downtown, also known as Downtown Greensboro Restaurant Week. The virus, however, is forcing restaurant owners to make some changes. The CDC says the risk of COVID-19 spread can increase in a restaurant setting, especially with long individual interactions. The highest risk is on-site dining, indoor or outdoor, with no reduced seating capacity or social distancing. On the other hand, health officials say the lowest risk is food service limited to drive-through, delivery, takeout, and curbside pickup only. Well, at least 32 restaurants are participating in Chow Downtown this week by offering dine-in or takeout food specials. Well, Zach Matheny is the president of Downtown Greensboro Incorporated, and he says all participating restaurants will be following the CDC's guidelines.
Maintaining proper social distancing. Many restaurants have different, even more stringent desires where they're wearing their mask, sometimes wearing a mask and a face shield over top of it. And so we're really doing everything we can to make sure folks that visit and patronize these businesses feel safe and want to come back.
This year, Chow Downtown is geared towards helping to keep local restaurants afloat. We also know that the city is working on other upcoming events and promotions for the holiday season. Taking a look at your screen because I want to make sure you have the details. Well, Chow Downtown kicked off yesterday and ends Friday. Well, some of the restaurants participating in the event include Blue Denim, Cheesecakes by Alex, and Natty Greens. But those are just some of my favorites. You can find a full list of other participating restaurants on our website at WFMYnews2.com.
Well, President Donald Trump returns to North Carolina this weekend. He'll be in Fayetteville this Saturday, hosting an event at the Fayetteville Regional Airport. It is listed as a general admission event. Doors are expected to open at 3 p.m. The president recently campaigned in Winston-Salem, making a stop there last week. No word yet on when Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden and his running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, will head to North Carolina. Today, they will be in Las Vegas for an in-person community conversation focusing on the impact of COVID-19 on working families within the Latino community.
Well, we've talked a lot about this fall forecast, or unofficial, I guess, fall forecast, because the fall equinox doesn't start until, I believe, September 22nd. Ed, is that right?
21st, 22nd.
Okay.
You're pretty close there.
Close to the mark. Okay, well, it's feeling like fall nonetheless this morning. And tonight we could see those lows in the mid-50s. That brings us to the question I posted on my Facebook page, Mega Malaris News. Describe today's weather in 3 words or emojis. So mine is wear a sweater or good hair day. Let's see what you are saying. Jessica wrote, lovely fall weather. Barbara says, so absolutely wonderful. Tammy says, want summer back. Kimberly used emojis here, a smiley face, a leaf, and some more bright fall leaves, indicating her pleasure about today. So let's get started here. Tracy, your 3 words or thoughts about today?
Feels so good. Yes, there you go. That's all I got. I did ask on my Facebook page, though, did you think that, it was an early fall or fall is right on time, or if, summer, we're just not done with it yet? And a lot of people said that they were ready for a little bit of fall. So, hey, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander.
Yeah, but Ed, we had a question here on Facebook from Jason who wants to know if this is a false fall, as in, is this kind of just like a taste of it and then we're going to go back to really hot summer weather for the next couple of weeks?
Well, I certainly hope not. I don't want to jinx it, but I do remind everyone, as I have done several times in recent months, last year, do you remember, we had 90-degree weather all the way into the month of October. Now, I just jinxed 2020, but you know how 2020 has been. It's been absolutely weird anyway, so anything could happen. But as these little shots of cooler, drier air that we're getting come through, this is really normal. This is really what we would expect as we go into September, and then even more so as we go into the month of October. We're getting this nice batch of Canadian air. Canadians, thank you so very much. This air is cooler, drier, and oh, it's pretty clean as well. A rich Carolina blue sky over our part of the Piedmont. We got another shot of even chillier air that's going to be working into the Piedmont as we head into the upcoming weekend. So we normally see these and then we'll warm back up a little bit, and then we'll see temperatures drop back for a little shot of that autumn air. But it's actually pretty normal. It'll be interesting to see how many of these shots of cooler, drier air and how frequent they come through. But as far as 90-degree weather, I'm not going to say yes or no. I'm just looking back at history and finding out that, oh yeah, it can be hot right on into, well into the month of October, but hopefully not this year. I love the lower humidity. The dew points have just fallen off the cliff. I mean, it is so dry, and it's just wonderful. It really feels good out here.
So Stacy, what are your 3 words?
Well, I just went ahead and put 3 emojis in here just to describe what fall is like in my life. I put the little coffee emoji to represent pumpkin spice lattes, obviously. Then the jack-o'-lantern because I love decorating with pumpkins. And then I did the sneezing face emoji because y'all know that my allergies are out of this world, and when it comes fall and spring, they are just amplified. So I'm over here sneezing every 5 minutes.
You're like the only person I know who looks better as their allergies get worse. I don't understand. Like, allergies for me mean droopy eyes, you know, it's just a gross effect, but you look amazing. And every time you're like, my allergies are so bad today, I'm like, how? You look amazing. But maybe some people just have
concealer.
It like that. Oh, it's concealer.
It's a lot of concealer.
That's the secret. But Stacey,
Maybelline, got it.
Stacey, I know you're like I am though, and you prefer summer to fall. Earlier you tweeted out saying how you already miss these 90-degree temperatures.
I know. So, I mean, obviously I'm excited about fall and everything that it entails with activities and stuff like that. I think it's so much fun. But there's just something about summer. Megan, I know you love summer too. It's just, you know, the trips to the beach and being outside and soaking up the sun, and, you know, I don't know. It's just, there's something about summer that it just makes it my favorite season.
Minus the bugs, though. I will not miss the bug bites. Those bugs, mosquitoes have been terrible this year. So I'm hoping that this cooler weather really kind of eases us into a nice fall transition.
What's your blood type?
Oh,
yeah, that's why, because people with O blood type are more attracted to mosquitoes, or mosquitoes are more attracted to you.
Yeah, I've heard there is some truth to that. I think we verified it before. Yeah, there is something about type O blood that is great for certain things, but not so great for others, like the mosquito magnet that I am. So
my doctor actually told me that.
That's so interesting.
There is truth to it, because I believe everything she says, or else I'm in trouble.
There you go.
All right, we're going to sign off here. Before we do, Ed Matthews, I have to let you know your camera is doing something funky where, you know, it's kind of like, I think it's condensation maybe.
It may be a little condensation, and also the sun is beginning to shine directly right into the camera lens there. So my apologies for that. I was looking up on my phone here. We had an advisory, an intermediate advisory to come out on Sally, just to let you know that the winds are unchanged, sustained winds at 85 miles per hour, and Sally is still crawling to the northwest at only 2 miles per hour. We're going to continue to track the storm, but that very slow movement could bring some real rainfall, serious problems to the Gulf Coast as it gets closer to land. Landfall, we think, late tonight or early tomorrow. We'll enjoy nice weather today, tomorrow. I think even most of Thursday may turn out dry. Based on the current forecast track, at least some tropical showers Thursday night through Friday, and if that remnant low, which right now is expected to move through Georgia and South Carolina, if that moves slower, we could extend some rain into Saturday. So I put a small chance of showers even on Saturday morning. But stay with us here at WFMY News 2. We're all over it. We're going to be updating Sally every time we get new information.
Well, I just want to let you know that you look amazing in your halo. And it fits you and your personality. Stacey actually said you look angelic in that light. So
thank you.
yeah. I think we're just like really rubbing it thick here on Ed Matthews.
And I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm going to bring more fall weather just for all these accolades that you're giving me this morning.
Is it fall weather, or are you the only meteorologist for us to gush on?
I got to get Triad back in from vacation so we can share the love. I mean, he's partly responsible for some of this, I guess, as well.
I don't know. I think you should keep him away.
I know. You give us the good weather, we'll keep those compliments a-coming, okay?
All right. I love it.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining with us and enjoying our weather conversations today. We talked about some pretty big things. Of course, we will be tracking Hurricane Sally tomorrow as she is expected to make landfall right during the Good Morning Show. So we will be monitoring her and then the impacts as she, I guess the remnants head our way. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay safe and enjoy your day.